Here is our second topic of this novel, that is symbolism in the mill on the Floss. Symbolism in the mill on the Floss. It's lecture number 7, dear students. Adjust your volume and create a favorable ambience for your lecture. Have you gone through symbolism already? Do you know about this term or not at all? If not, we'll go through it in detail in this lecture. There's a very short outline here. There is symbolism in the mill and the Floss. What is symbolism? In literature, symbolism is the use of symbols to signify ideas and qualities by giving them symbolic meanings that are different from their literal sense. Okay, read it again. Symbolism is the use of symbols to signify ideas and qualities by giving them symbolic meanings that are different from their literal sense. What is literal sense and their real meaning? Literal means that are mentioned in the dictionary. So we use symbols not to show their literal meaning, dictionary meaning, but the symbols show something different. This slide would go through the topic in detail. Symbolism can take different forms. Generally, it is an object representing another. A symbol is an object or a thing that represents another thing or another object to give an entirely, completely different meaning that is much deeper and more significant. This is important about symbols, that these meanings are deeper and more significant. Sometimes, however, an action, an event or word spoken by someone may have a symbolic value. For instance, smile is a symbol of friendship. Similarly, the action of someone smiling at you, a person who is smiling at you, may stand as a symbol of feeling of affection, love, which that person has for you. So here we see that smile is a symbol of friendship or love. Symbols do shift their meanings depending on the context they are used in. It's important about symbols that symbols shift their meanings, and symbols are dependent on the context in which they are used in. For example, a chain may stand for union as well as imprisonment. A chain may show that someone is in jail, someone is in prison. The symbolic meaning of an object or an action is understood by when, where, and how it is used. It also depends on who reads the work. I hope that you have understood the idea of symbol. If yes, that's great. If not, then let's move to the next slide. In our daily life, we can easily identify objects that can be taken as examples of symbolism, such as following. The dove is the symbol of peace. A red rose, or the color red, stands for love and romance. Black is the symbol that represents evil or death. A ladder may stand as a symbol for a connection between heaven and earth. A broken mirror may symbolize separation. Do you know about some other symbols as well? Can you mention one or two? Yes, you guessed right. Flag is the symbol of a country, of a nation. A flag has a deeper and greater meaning than the symbol itself. I hope that now you have a great idea about symbolism. What is symbolism in literature and in common life as well. So here is the definition. Symbolism is the use of symbols to signify ideas and qualities by giving them symbolic meaning that are different from their literal sense. Because flag in the country has no relationship, but flag shows, flag symbolizes a greater thing, that is nation, that is country. So symbolism can take different forms, and as we have said that symbols may shift their meanings depending on the context they are used in. And we have taken an example of a chain that may be a symbol of union in some context, and in another it may mean imprisonment. Here are some symbols that are written here on the slide. Okay, dear students, now we will talk symbolism in the mill on the floss. Here we go. Maggie's dark coloring. We know that Maggie's color is not typical to the native English persons. Rather, she may belong to some other country. It looks like that. So Maggie's dark coloring. Her hair, her skin, and her eyes might seem like weird symbols, strange symbols. Everything is black, everything is dark. Her hair, skin, and her eyes. They are certainly mentioned enough to qualify them as motifs, as main subjects in the novel, motifs, or repeating themes and images. They are repeated time and again in the novel, because the writer wants to convey some theme through these images, through this dark color. So the dark color of her hair, her skin, and her eyes symbolize something greater that George Eliot wanted to show in the novel. In the start, we may take into notice that George Eliot herself was not so beautiful. So sometimes she may have been rejected from the society. It was why that she conveys that theme and meaning through her heroine, Maggie. We start hearing about Maggie's dark skin and crazy hair from the very first chapter. Notably, Maggie's dark looks are frequently referred to negatively by her relatives. All her aunts and her neighbors taunt her for her dark skin, hair, and eyes, because the normal color and complexion of the natives of England is white, and eyes color may be brown, and even the hair color is brown as well, or the golden like that. But Maggie has everything that is dark, that is black, or that is blackish, you may say. One of her aunts, Aunt Paulette, sees Maggie's hair as a problem to be solved. She used to say that this problem must be solved before her marriage, otherwise there will be problems in her marriage as well, because she may not be relevant to her ambience, to her environment, to the context she is living in. Maggie's dark hair and skin help to set her apart from the rest of the extended Dawson clan. It doesn't seem that she belongs to Dawson clan, Dawson tribe, Dawson family, because all her cousins and all her aunts were white, but she was black. So she doesn't seem to belong Dawsons. And as a result, Maggie's physical appearance helps to reinforce the ways she differs from her family in terms of intellect, emotions, ideas, and behavior. Not only the color was different, but George Eliot mentions that she was different in intellect, means she was different in intelligence from her aunts, from her other relatives. She was better in intellect, she was more intelligent, she was emotionally better. Her ideas were good than her neighbors, than her relatives, and even Maggie's behavior was better than her relatives, than her aunts, than her cousins. So not only physically she was different, but she was different in behavior patterns as well. Is there some difficulty here on the slide, my dear students? If not, let's move on to the next slide. So we see Maggie's dark hair and skin also have some racial connotations or meanings. Connotation means broader meanings, contextual meanings, not literal meanings, not dictionary meanings, as a dog may symbolize some kind of insult. So the literal meaning of dog is something else, that is four-legged animals of dog family like that, but dog connotates something that's related to insult or that is relevant to some mean thing. So that's the connotation of dog, the meanings that are attached in society to the dog. If you say someone bitch a dog, it means that you are insulting him or her. So that is connotative meaning. So we see that her dark hair and skin also have some racial. Racial means that is relevant to some specific race, that they are Negro, they are white people, they are the English, like that. So she has some racial connotations as well, and she may belong to some gypsy because her moves are just like gypsies. So in this time period, a lot of English people thought that white people were superior, and even now they say like that, and the whiter your skin was, the better. And it's considered a thought even now, isn't it? In our society, the paradigm is the same, the standard is almost the same, as we are reading here about white people, that English people thought that white people were superior, and the whiter your skin was, the better. White skin was also related to class prejudices, to class biases, to class differences. Women who have money and didn't have to work could remain indoors and avoid getting a tan, a bad color, a dark color. So it was thought that women who are going outside for earning, they are not thought good. They were not considered good at that time, because they have to stay at home so that their color won't faint or won't become tan. So white skin was a marker of money and status as well. Maggie's darker skin is unsettling for her family. So Maggie's dark skin is quite upsetting and perplexing and perturbing, confusing for her family, since she is part of middle-class family. Her skin and hair imply that she is somehow wild or poor or savage or wild. She was just like wild people. Maggie herself even makes note of this when she observes that her family often compares her to the gypsies, to the wandering people round about, like gypsies. So they themselves referred her as gypsies, a group that society looked down upon, that society does not like. So they mention time and again that you are a gypsy, you are a gypsy. And once she ran away also with the gypsy family. That was another case. Okay, students, darkness continues. So Maggie's hair and skin help to set her apart, and also prejudice a lot of people against her. There are so many people against her on the behalf of her color. They didn't like her more for her feelings, for her behavior, for her intellect, intelligence, but they are just measuring her against her color. They are ignoring every other thing that is latent, that is her talent. They are ignoring everything, and they are just focusing on physical beauty. or rather physical ugliness in case of Maggie. Her eyes also add to her uncanny and striking appearance. Even her eyes were black as well, so they are also strengthening the point and solidifying the point of blackness here. So they are also supporting the idea of blackness. Maggie's eyes are frequently described as somehow hypnotic. So her eyes were like just hypnotic, quite different from others. And they may hypnotize others. Stephen is always wanting Maggie to look at him. And here's another aspect that Stephen Guest is looking through his own eyes, as one can look into the eyes of his beloved. So to him, her eyes were quite different, and that strangeness and weirdness is beautiful for Stephen Guest. And Stephen is hypnotized as well from her eyes, from the color of her eyes, because the color is quite different from other ladies. He's almost obsessed with her eyes. So Stephen Guest's mind was always obsessed, was always filled. So her mind, her thoughts were obsessed with her eyes, full of the ideas of her eyes. Her eyes were shining in his mind. And it is no coincidence, it is not a chance that Lucy considers Maggie as somehow supernatural. Similar is the case with her cousin Lucy. She also thought of her as supernatural being, describing how Maggie uses witchcraft and has a general uncanniness. So she compares her to some kind of magical world. Her cousin thought of her like that. So it was all about Maggie's darkness. Now there is another symbol that is used in the novel. There is music and sound. Music and sound are probably the most frequently repeated symbols in the entire book. And as a result, music and sound represent a lot of different things. Music and sound have the ability to create entire worlds here, and they are often depicted, shown as safe havens for harsh reality. It means that you can go to music as an escape from reality. Both Philip and Maggie take comfort and joy in music. Maggie explains her love of music here. Let's read this paragraph. I think I should have no other mortal wants. If I could always have plenty of music. So she says that if I would have so much music, then there would be no lack for me. I would feel satiated. So here's love for music, for Maggie. That music is everything for me. If I have music, I need no other thing. It seems no infuse strength into my limbs and ideas into my brain. So it seems that music infuses me with power, and it gives new ideas to my brain. Life seems to go on without effort when I am filled with music. So whenever she is filled with music, she is full of creativity. Life is so easy for her. So that's the importance of music for Maggie and for George Eliot as well. Symbolically, the passion of music and sound are frequently related to the passionate Maggie. So there's passion in music, there's craze in music, especially in fast music. So that music shows the true nature of emotional Maggie. Maggie and music have a very close affinity, close relationship. The way music is represented here, emotional, passionate, beautiful, often seems to represent Maggie in the abstract. Maggie is even sometimes characterized as a musical instrument. Check out the Art and Culture Code section for some thoughts on this. Okay, overall music and sound represent the better life for which Maggie spends the entire book searching. The sort of musical life is one of deep emotion and energy. Lucy, Maggie and Tom are all compared to animals. That's the third symbol we are using in the novel. That's of animal. That's sometimes Lucy, sometimes Maggie and sometimes Tom. They are all compared to some animals, generally dogs, throughout this text. They are compared to dogs time and again. Animals seem somehow related to childhood and to innocence more generally. Maggie is compared to multiple animals, to many animals, dogs and ponies. Ponies, in between horse and a donkey, there's pony in between. When she's a child, she's often considered a dog, a pony. For example, Maggie was incessantly continuously tossing her head, moving her head to keep the dark, heavy locks, heavy hair out of her gleaming, shining black eyes. An action which gave her very much the air of small Shetland pony. So we see here that she is compared to a pony because she is moving her head and locks and hair so much like a pony. In this instance, the animal comparison seems to reinforce, support Lucy's sweet and almost childlike nature. Animals here are used to highlight childlike aspects of characters' personality, most of which are lost on the road to adulthood, because these habits are finished when these children grow up, become old, and they become at the threshold of adulthood, so they forget everything about this gayness, this happiness of life, this cherishing moments. They lose everything. It is notable that the bulk of the book's animal comparison occur early on, when Tom, Maggie and Lucy are children. So they are compared to different animals at different times. As they grow older, Tom and Maggie seem to lose their connection to simpler and more innocent emotions, which are represented by animals. So, dear students, we see that mainly three symbols are used in the novel. First of all, we discussed about the dark hair, the dark skin and the dark eyes of Maggie. That's taken as a symbol in the novel. And afterwards, we see that music is taken as a symbol in the novel to show the passionate nature of our emotional heroine Maggie. And thirdly, we see that children are compared to animals. So animals are taken as symbols that show your innocent nature and they show your playful nature. So the main symbols have been discussed here in this lecture. I hope that you have got the idea of symbolism in literature, what is symbolism in literature, what you know about symbols. Now you are quite aware of the meanings of symbols and symbolism in literature, and specifically we discussed symbolism in the Mill on the Floss. I hope you have gathered so much ideas about everything here about symbolism and symbolism in the Mill on the Floss. Still you have any query, please ask me during the lecture time, and do contact me through my WhatsApp number that have been mentioned on the portal, so you can contact me and make a WhatsApp group as well. Till then, my dear students, thank you and stay happy.